Welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy Show with Devina Kaur. Our intention is to inspire, awaken and create global leaders using the Sexy Brilliant philosophy. Discover sacred wisdom and the benefits of self-leadership with your host, author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious, and founder of Sexy Brilliant Global Revolution, Devina Kaur.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy Show with Devina Kaur. And today it is my honor and my privilege to welcome Charlie Freak all the way from Mexico. Hi, Charlie. And
Hi.
hello to everybody who's here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know where you guys are from and what is it that you're doing right now along with watching the show. So, Charlie. And Charlie, those of you who don't know Charlie Freak, he is an animal rescuer. He is an author, a musician, and of course, a spiritual teacher. And Charlie Freak, if you're not familiar with his story, he left everything behind in Canada and moved to Mexico with his partner, Colleen, to run an animal sanctuary. So we're so honored that, Charlie, you are here with us. And today we are talking about spiritual confidence. And just before we got on live, Charlie and I were talking about, I told Charlie, whatever happens, we're going to keep the show under 1 hour. So Charlie's promised us, and we're like, okay, let's do this. So Charlie, with everything going on in the world, the death of celebrity worship, there's no more glamour and glamorization of Bollywood or Hollywood. And most of us are in lockdown. I mean, Europe is in lockdown, as well as North America is in lockdown, and of course, many other parts of the world. But what is really happening is that we are so lost, and we're kind of, looking for a way. So that's why I wanted to invite Charlie and talk about what it means to have confidence, and then what does it mean to have spiritual confidence. So Charlie, please take it over. Please introduce yourself to those who may not know you. And of course, we're going to start the show.
Okay. Well, again, thanks for having me on today. Always always a delight to be with you, Devina. And Devina was saying, we came to Mexico to run an animal rescue sanctuary. We didn't. We came here to disassociate ourselves with the former selves that we were, the mask wearers, doing everything the wrong way, and of course, understandably so, when you are being manipulated your entire life from birth to be a certain way, to be false to yourself and true to them, is kind of how the system works. So where we live in Mexico is truly the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful, it's peaceful. We're in the countryside. We're surrounded by fields of sugarcane and corn and soy, and it's very beautiful. We're surrounded by mountains. We're up quite high. We're in a valley, but it's just beautiful, peaceful, and quiet. And this is one of the reasons why we chose this location, is for that specific reason. Because if you want to become spiritual, you have to become grounded, centered, still, stationary, because you have to be able to achieve balance. And if you don't have balance, that inner harmony within you, then your energy can't balance. And if your energy is not balanced, then forget about the spiritual aspect to you, which is your true self. The physical form is this gift that we inherited by falling from singularity into duality. So this is a gift, but our essential form is that inner self, is that spiritual self. As Nikola Tesla said, we're all energy. All is energy. Therefore, everything is frequencies of either vibrations, electricity, or pulsations, magnetism. And then, of course, that's a choice. It's a choice to be electrical or magnetic. One is eternal and one is temporal. So So that's what we did. And then when we got here, we just found that there was this desperate need to heal all these different animals. And it was horses and goats and dogs and cats. And so we're up to 45 now, which is, the President Trump 45 number, and the book of Isaiah chapter 45, and King Cyrus, who came to cleanse the lands. God asked, and he responded. So that's kind of what Colleen and I have done with everything that we've since done, writing of the books, all the books that we've done, and of course creating Freak Sense TV, and doing all that we do. It's here to serve God, and that's being virtuous. And if all you do in this life is to serve the creator of all things, then you are being virtuous. And when you're virtuous, you're righteous, and when you're righteous, you're spiritual. So, with the topic of the show today being how to gain spiritual confidence, when I did my sort of landmark 2-hour video on meditation, I literally spent the first hour and a half of the 2-hour video talking about this straight and narrow path that leads to the straight gate that is within, in stillness and silence. And it's everything. So all the different techniques about meditation, they're wonderful, and there are different ways to do it that can certainly help you. But the most important thing to be able to still yourself to meditate is that you need to be in a righteous state of mind. Because when you're not righteous, you're not yourself. We are mankind. We're not human beings. Human beings is a title that they push upon us, and it's what everybody's accepted. If you do the gematria, if you do the etymology in particular of the word hue man, or the word hue, what you see is that hue is a relation to a shade, shades of gray, and that there are infinite shades of gray, degrees which are clouds, obscurations. And this is not the self. This is a mask that covers the self. And so this is where hue comes from. Hue comes from a layer that is dividing the essence of you from someone else, anyone else, or from the creator. And that's what we've become by living in a reality where people tell us what to do, and then we respond to whatever they tell you. We don't know the first things about ourselves, and we're mask wearers. That's, by the way, why through the maritime admiralty law system of the Catholic Church, this is why you're in the entire Western world, and now the entire world is run through this false construct of persons. We are all legal persons instead of lawful children of God. Legal is an invented word. It's a construct of the cabal to own and rule you. There are laws of God, and the legality of man is an illusion. The laws of God are what are real, and they're very simple. They're very few. And ultimately, you can express them down to the two Sanskrit words, ahimsa and satyagraha. Satya, which is truth, and graha, which is the journey to become the truth. That's all that matters in this world, because everything that is righteous, like love and light, all come through the truth. So when you hear so many spiritual people out there that are saying it's all about love and light, it's all about the love and light, we have to just be love and light. No, it's all about the truth. This is something that this is why I tackled the mighty Charlie Ward and called him out for being what he is, which is a pathological serial liar, and that it is very, very harmful, very harmful. It's mental torture, what it is, because we are the children of God, which is truth. Creation is truth. We are the pinnacle of God's creation, which is truth. So therefore, we are truth. And when we're fed lies, it literally is death. When we hold on to and live our lives in and around lies, it's killing us, because what we are is truth. We're the children of God, which is truth. So we live in a construct. All of these laws, and the law itself says that to be ignorant of all of these laws is not an excuse. You have to be aware and abiding of all of these laws, and then so that your entire life then just becomes, am I breaking a law? What is there a law for this or that? You know, should I be breathing the air because I know I have to have a license to be able to fish. I have to have a license to be able to go mountain climbing in this particular area. I'm not quite sure why that would be, but so maybe do I need a license to be breathing? Well, you know, that's coming. If there wasn't this insurrection that is taking place right now, that's exactly where all of this is heading. So we need to be free. Mankind is free. Persons are mask wearers, are human beings. We're slaves. You just need to know that. Right off the bat, this is a great place for us to start, is getting the terminology correct. So you're not a person. In the legal system of this world, you are a legal person. No, you're not. You know what a person means. Person comes from Greek. It means Persephone. You do the etymology of Persephone. What is Persephone? A mask wearer. What is a human being? Hugh, a mask wearer. What they do is they own not the true you, because of course they cannot, but what they do own is the false you, which is the legal person. You are not a legal person. You are the child of God. And that means that the only person that has power above you is God himself. And what's the first thing after God created us? What's the first thing that God gifted to us? Free will. So what's God trying to say? I love you, and you're totally free to do whatever you want, including disavow me and disassociate yourself with me, because I love you and I wish you to be free. We are mankind, who is the free man. You are not a person. You are not a human being. Those are constructs that are taught to you in school or on television or in movies to enslave you. To them, we are our birthing certificates. And that's how all of this game is played, that they own you and think of you as an asset that can be bought and sold and manipulated by your birthing certificate. So you're not any of those things. You are not a legal person. And in the Bible, it said that God disavows persons. God is not a supporter of persons. He is supporter of the living. He is supporter of mankind, because he's the creator of mankind. So once again, when you are mankind, what we're supposed to be is in the title. I just gave away the ending to the whole story. You're mankind. The whole purpose to our journey is to grow to a point where you live in pure kindness. That's it. And then that's who you truly are, because that's how God made all of us, is mankind. Woman, womb, man, or man. We're all mankind, and that is to be kind. So when we eat animals in a system that involves force breeding them, therefore raping, and if we get the wrong sex, we instantly murder the one that the wrong sex that is born and throw it into a garbage can. And then the animals that they do keep, they then torture them for the rest of their existence, and they fill them with the most unholy, the most unsacred, horrific, disgusting, vile things that are then transferred into us. And remember, as Tesla said, if everything is energy, when you're consuming a slaughtered animal that has lived their entire life in captivity, in slavery, and in torture, you're ingesting all of that. See, because the truth is that every aspect of you, and including muscle, there's been many, many, many tests done about the memory that exists within just human muscle. When you ingest, whatever you ingest, you are ingesting their essence. You're ingesting everything about them. So the horrors and their memories are coming into you, and you're polluting yourself. You're toxifying yourself, but not only of the physical, of the metaphysical, of the mind. And then you play this dangerous game, dancing with your ego for the rest of your life, trying desperately to avoid looking at yourself in the mirror when that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And it shouldn't be hard to do because you're mankind. But we've been taught to be man evil, or to be man inconsiderate, or man disconnected. And that's not mankind. And the man who is disconnected is not one who wants to stop and take a look at themselves in the mirror. And that's what we should be doing every single day. We have to take a stock of who we are in any single moment. And we should always be proud of whom and what we stand for in every single moment. We should never waver from that. So the core to spiritual strength and spiritual a spiritual connection to God that will last forever is based in the truth. So that's why I started the show today with this etymology of these words, because if you don't know the basis of who you are, and that the first thing God gave you, which is free will, which is freedom, then you don't know anything about creation, about God, or about yourself. And then how are you supposed to become a spiritual person? Davina, you were going to interject, please?
So Charlie, like, what you're saying is true for somebody perhaps who's been on this self-awareness journey for some time. But for somebody who's just starting off, who's been indoctrinated, and I was there, and I know many of us have been there. In fact, I would say I'm still there, Charlie, because as much as I try, there are things there are some challenges that are also part of my life. So, for example, like I've been trying to become a vegetarian, and it's hard. And I'm like, it's hard because there's this mental block that makes me believe that it's hard. So I'm constantly working on it. But what tips do you have for somebody, who just finds it hard to be that pure form, be in alchemy, or is struggling? What do you have to say for that?
Well, again, that's why I started the show the way I started, because again, this isn't difficult for people to understand. You have to start by knowing the truth. You have to start through a position of truth. And the building block of all truth is to know thyself. And so the building block of who you are is mankind. So we have to get out of this notion that you're a person, a legal person, because you're not. That's your birthing certificate, and then they own you because you're a two-dimensional piece of paper, and they can do anything. That's why they in their minds, that's why they get away with everything that they do to us, because technically they're not doing it to the child of God. They're doing it to the representation of the child of God, which is a birthing two-dimensional piece of paper, the birthing certificate. So when you comply with that system, you're a slave. So the very first thing that we need to do is that we need to become truthful, honest. And if we're being honest, what we are the children of God, and that means we're mankind. Whether you're a man or a woman, you are mankind. And so, like I just said, that it gives away the ending. So the whole point of life is to go on this journey as the prodigal son or the prodigal daughter. And that path is a winding path because, like Devina is saying, sometimes I'm doing well today and sometimes I'm not doing as well today. That's the winding path that you go. But the further you go, the further you begin to take these basic steps towards connecting to God, then the path becomes straighter and straighter and narrower and narrower. And suddenly you're on that straight and narrow path that leads directly to God. And that's up Jacob's ladder. And that is into, the place of legend, the place of magic, which is the third ventricle of your brain within you. So the very first place we start is from the truth. So the single most important message that I can share with you and teach to you today is that you are mankind, and that the whole goal, and I'm not kidding you, there's nothing really more to it than this. The single biggest truth of them all is that the entire purpose of you in this physical ride, this physical experience, is to become kind. the kind man or the kind woman. And if you do that, you will achieve everything that you've ever wanted, because God knows, God is the creator of you and is inside of you. So God knows exactly whom you are and what it is that you truly desire. So the rewards that we receive in this reality are all built out of the work we do. So if you do false, specious work that's built in and around lies that exploits anyone, animals, other men and women, if you're into exploiting, then you're going to get a very, very rich and deserved reward. Now, if you may not like it, but it's just, because everything that God does is just. Everything is fair. So this is the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros, the circle that is consuming itself. What you put in is what you get out. So if you're eating crap in your life, and if you're ingesting nothing but lies, then what you get out of life is nothing but crap or nothing but lies. So it's just this basic understanding that what you are is the child of God, and that you are a kindly man or woman, and that's all you need to do to become this ascended spiritual master. Take a look at the teachings of Krishna. I mean, reading the Bhagavad Gita and the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna for yourself. I mean, not entrusting someone else to tell you what it means, but just to take the time and to savor every single word from this true genius. It's reading all the pages of the New Testament of the Bible and breathing and enveloping the words of Jesus Christ within you, and just letting them run free through you, above you, and with you, so that in every moment, just the beauty and the kindliness of these ascended masters flow with you and through you. And then it's the same thing of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Again, reading the Buddha sutras are so important, because again, Jesus Christ, Krishna, and the Buddha were all the most kindly of men. They were, and therefore they were the wisest men. And the reason being is because, of course, they have to be, because the rewards that we earn in this reality are based on the work we do. So when you are so close to God by living in love, in servitude, in assistance and help to others, then you are truly godly. And then the gifts are the true gifts of God, which is wisdom, which is the truth. And this is everything that we are supposed to be and supposed to become. So for even the most novice that's listening today, what I'm saying to you is an abrupt face turn from what you've been taught to do your entire life, and you're casting thy net to the right. You are turning to the rising sun in the east, and you are going to say, from this moment forth, I drive out the darkness by turning on the light within me. And remember, if you maintain that light within you, darkness can't reappear. See, light is the true reality and holds all power. Darkness cannot exist in light. Light can exist at any time, anywhere. Darkness can't. Darkness can only exist when there's no light. When you turn out your lights within you by being sinful, by being selfish, by embracing lies and resisting the truth, and resisting taking a hard look in the mirror at yourself, and beginning this process to chip away at the stone mask that you're wearing to reveal the truth of who you are, then you are sinful. And sinful is specious, and you're on the wrong side. And if you're on the wrong side of this, the gifts that you will receive are all the wrong gifts for the true essence of you. So it's really that simple. If you want to change your existence right here, right now, in this moment, it's to say this: from now on, I am mankind, and I exist to love, to help, and to serve all others. That is my reason for being. And where my money comes from, where my bread is buttered. Don't eat bread, don't eat butter. These are allegories. But where these gifts, this manna from heaven, which is the thought of God, where this manna from heaven comes from is when you're righteous, and that's casting thy net to the right, and that's Krishna, that's Buddha, and that is Jesus Christ. So they came, and these texts exist. Remember, no matter what they've taken out of those books, no matter what has been hidden away from us, they can't take away the fact that the Buddha Sutras are pure gold, alchemical gold. It is the story of stories. It tells you the truth of everything you need to know. That's the Buddha Sutra. The Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
Yes, Charlie, was it ever hard for you to, I mean, yes, you left everything in Canada and you moved. Did you ever stumble or did you make mistakes? What was your journey like?
Well, my entire life to get to this point was a mistake because I adhered to ultimately at a certain age to their system. When I was a kid, just really quickly, but when I was a kid, I was very independent, and that's a really good thing. And I really disliked school, and because I have a good memory and just found the things that they were sort of the useless things that they were teaching in school easy to understand. I was a straight A student in school, so I got away with a lot. And what I got away with was skipping school because I couldn't stand to be in school. So whenever I had an opportunity from the grades 11, 12, I was out of school. I was on my bike and I was in bookstores and record stores, and I was seeking for the truth on those album pages away from their system. But I got lured in with scholarships to go to university. And, this is a gift you can't pass up. And I don't blame anybody else. It's my decision to do so. And when I went to university, I ended up getting 3 degrees. So I have an undergraduate degree in economics. I have a master's of business education. And then I have a 3rd degree, which allows me to be able to teach these things at whatever level, including college. And so that's how you know I was a complete idiot, is because I had three big lettered degrees behind my name, and I got virtually everything wrong. And I got to a point where I was really, for the first time, because I'm such a positive, happy, very inner focused, silent person, very quiet person. I've always been that way, very reflective. And I got to a certain point in my life where I actually began to despair, and that's just not me at all. That this world was going to hell in a handbasket, and it was taking me with it. And so I felt like a victim, and that's wrong. That's a fool. So I had worked hard all those years to become nothing but a fool. And then,
oh my God, Charlie, you're talking about 3 degrees. I have 9 university degrees. Talk about being a loser.
It's really true. It's really true because.
Yeah. And I want to ask our audience, how many degrees do you have? Did you go to university or college? And what are you using your degrees, and what do you feel about them? Let us know in the comments, please. So go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry to butt in, but I have to share that.
No, and it's true, and it is. It's really true, and I can admit to that because I went through that process. And so I was at that point, just beginning to enter into feeling like a victim, and that things were just headed to hell. And it was at that point Pauline came, and she was her. I was.
How old were you when you met Pauline?
I'm just trying to think. So I'm 57 now. So I met Colleen when I was, 45,
Oh,
45,
wow.
45, 45,
And
once
where did
again,
you guys
45
meet?
in my life. Back in Canada, and we just hit it off like and of course I was born on July 17 of 1963, and Colleen's born July 18, 1965. So we have a great deal in common in terms of the very essence of us as well. So there are differences between us, but they accentuate one another. And so very quickly our relationship just went like, phew, and so did our spirits, and we began to soar again. And we were so in love with one another, and especially in love with our companionship with one another, that we said we need to get out of this rat race. We need to take this huge leap of faith that whatever we're going to do, somehow this is going to work out. We didn't have a plan, so we just trusted in our newfound connection to God with through each other, that we needed to get away from the system which was evil. We were absolutely convinced of that. That we were part of a very sick system, and we didn't want to support it. And so that's what we did. We sold everything we had, and we cashed everything in. And then with whatever cash we had, we came down here, and we started again. And in the beginning, because our faith was still burgeoning, beginning to grow, and wasn't fully fused at that point, we had some ups and downs. But from that moment that we absolutely knew the brilliance of God's creation and how all of this works, then we absolutely began to connect to source, and we began to just soar. And so this is the kind of life that we lead, where there are no problems, that there are only opportunities. And it every day is a gorgeous, beautiful day. And for us, every day is in service to everyone else. And so it is, every day is just such an incredible day. And the gift of this is this connection to God that doesn't go away. And this is for both Colleen and I, this is where the bulk of where our gnosis comes from. We don't rely on the works of man. We rarely watch anything of any work of anyone else. We're reading fewer and fewer books. We're listening to fewer and fewer artists or albums. We're just sort of always just going back to that core and that singular connection. And so the bulk of everything that we do is to maintain this incredible relationship with God, and that is within us, and that all starts through this lost art of meditation. We all used to be masters of meditation, and it's been taken away from us. And it's funny now, because there's 1,000 books out there on meditation, and all of them are teaching you the wrong way, because what meditation is silence. So if you have a mantra and you're chanting your mantra, and it has to be 102 times, and so you're having to struggle to remember what your mantra is, struggling, you're saying your mantra. The whole point of all of this is to take no thought. Jesus Christ in the book of Matthew, from after the key of everything, which is 622 or 621 and 622, in the book of Matthew, Jesus says, "If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall fill with light." And from 625 to the end of the chapter at 634, Jesus says 5 times, "Take no thought for your life." And this is the key, because when we think, we're thinking out of the left hemisphere of our brain, and that's the dime brain, because it's only 10% of the brain's capacity, and it focuses on facts, figures, and logic. And under the rule of facts, figures, and logic, you can justify anything, because I need to provide for my family. So it's just that I take advantage of this person, or it's just that I lie to this other person, or that I use my power or my strength to take advantage of somebody else because I have to provide for my family. There's no wisdom in that. There's no wisdom in facts, figures, and logic. It's a trap. It's a trap where you can justify any sinful behavior, and then you're literally locked in a prison of your mind. The key is meditation, and the journey is to cross from the left hemisphere of your brain to the right. And this is why in the Bible everything is about this casting thy net to the right, up and to the right, in 3 days. It's always about these key basic um, marks that mark the way to the kingdom of heaven, which is within you. That's the right path, and that's the right hemisphere of your brain, which is 90% of your reality. So how do you attract the right hemisphere of the brain? What is the right hemisphere of the brain? Instead of facts, figures, and logic, it's lore, legend, and magic. Lore, legend, and magic. That's the right hemisphere of the brain. So why do you think that most of the truth that has ever found its way to us, which is very little, we hardly know any truth whatsoever. Our entire history is a lie. It's all constructed by the people who lied, cheated, and raped their way into power. And so they rewrote their actions to make them look quite different from the reality. So we know almost nothing of our true past. We know almost nothing of our true self, because school isn't designed to teach you about you. School is designed to confuse you about you and to make you bullied by others and a victim to words, and instead of being impermeable to what somebody else thinks of you. What matters is this connection. What matters is what is your relationship to God. It's what matters is where you stand in the mighty temple of the Father. So that's what this is all about. It's casting thy net to the right. So that's why most of the truth that's ever come to us has come through artists, because to be an artist, you're not thinking. In fact, the greatest work that any artists have ever done is when they're completely not thinking and they just feel an energy run through them or feel a spark within them, and then they just create, and there's no thinking. And whether it's a sculptor, a painter, a songwriter, a writer of words, novels on paper, what do they all say about their best works? I felt guilty putting my name down as the owner or the author of this work, because it truly and alignment to God, being in the right hand, and that's
sorry, Charlie, you cut off a little bit. Can you repeat the last part again, please?
You bet. So what is key is that when you go to the right hemisphere of your brain, you're not thinking, you're simply going with the flow. You are infused with inspirations. I, and look at these words. The letter I is the 9th letter of the alphabet, which is 9 is divine, and 9 is a representation of God consciousness. And look at the letter I. And in particular, let's just take a look at the small I. The small I is a pillar with a single dot or a ball above it. And so you see, this is the sacred pillar that holds up your third eye. So here's your pillar, and there's your third eye, and that's the letter I. So right in front of you is the letter I right here. And by the way, here's the letter T. So you have to be it, and it is right here. It is right here. And this is the Ark of the Covenant. This is where the 10 Commandments are stored, in the Ark of the Covenant right here. This is your sphenoid bone, which is connected to every other bone in the brain. And it is a flat, circular bone in your head. And then above the sphenoid bone is your curved cranium, which could be looked at as, like firmament. And so basically, you're looking at what every single culture, what the Bible teaches, the Bhagavad Gita teaches, what the Quran teaches, what the Egyptian Book of the Dead teaches. They all teach that the earth is level and we are protected by a firmament, all of them. Of course, that can't be true, because some Jesuit told us that we're a spinning ball and all the rest of it, and you're indoctrinated with that from the moment you're born. But just so you know, every ancient culture and virtually all scientists and men of learned reasoning from a couple of hundred years ago on all knew that the earth was level, never once moved, and protected by a firmament, and that we're here to do a journey, this one journey. And this one journey is to raise from being the lamb, raise and rise again until you become the lion. And this is the lion king upon the rock. The rock is your pineal gland. When you activate it, it becomes a diamond. And the diamond is the strongest substance known to man. And that's where you build your house, as Jesus says in the Bible. You build it upon solid rock. That's the most solid rock we know, is this crystalline. By the way, and when you hear spiritualists saying that we have to go from being these 3D to the 5th dimension to the 5D people, what are they talking about? 5D to spiritualists is this crystalline self. And the crystalline self is a complete metaphor for you activating the portal to God, which is your pineal gland. And when you do, it literally turns from a vast desert wasteland, 40 days and 40 nights struggling with temptation of the devil in the desert. When we don't use the pineal gland, that's our life. Guarantee it. If you're not using your pineal gland, your entire life has been wandering in the desert, being tempted by the devil at every single turn. Exactly. Just cast your mind and memory back to virtually every day, and that's how it goes. But when you do the work to illuminate yourself, which is your pineal gland, which is the portal to God, it turns from a vast desert wasteland into an illuminated crystalline structure in the shape of a diamond. And what is the diamond? Above is the phallic for the father. Below is the womb of the mother. And together, father and mother create the child. And that's the Holy Trinity. And that's what we are. What you need to know is that the whole goal of becoming mankind is coming home to your true mother and father. And that is the divine masculine and the divine feminine in you. And when you do that, I guarantee you that you will have more power than you could possibly imagine. That all of the magic that you were meant to be bestowed with and are bestowed with, you will reconnect to, you will rediscover. And all the joy, and all the happiness, and all the abundance in this world come when you become part of the Holy Trinity once more. That's the whole thing, my friends, is this journey within to connect to your true father and your true mother. And this is love, this is care, compassion, this is freedom, everything. And again, practically, how do we do this? Become the end goal, which is mankind. How do you become mankind? Become the kind of man. So if you live your life in every decision that you make, throw out the money aspect to everything. It's not real. It's all an illusion, and soon enough it'll be going away. But for now, let it go. Just let it go, and make every single decision that you do, make it a righteous decision. And I guarantee you that your life will change for the better overnight. It works that fast, and it works so powerfully. When you start this journey, you don't need to buy a book. You don't need to ultimately watch this or watch that. You just need to be virtuous and righteous in all moments. And it's so simple. What are the 7 heavenly virtues? They're the exact opposite of the 7 deadly sins. This is just being respectful and kind to all others. And when we do this, then you're on the path that is straight and narrow. And that is spiritual confidence, because that is the knowing that you're on this right path to God. And it's just that simple. It truly is.
You know, Charlie, so I'm born and raised in India, and I'm lucky that I got to have access to the Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedas and you know, as well as a little bit of Buddhism as well. And of course, Sikhism, because I'm born and raised in a Sikh family. But for people who are listening in and tuning in from everywhere in the world, what is the first place that they can go and find this silence and stillness? Because this is exactly what's being taken away from us.
Yes. Yeah. It's very interesting. Someone from Canada contacted us, and just part of the conversation was that everything is just crazy, and they mentioned something about Netflix, and now with Netflix is that no matter where you go in Netflix, it won't just go to some place and just be a list of images or something. It plays everything. So in other words, there's no silence with Netflix. As soon as you turn Netflix on, it's playing a clip of something, and there's nowhere you can go to avoid Netflix playing a clip. And none of this is accidental. It's all purposeful, as Devina is saying, is that everything they do is designed to keep you in chaos. And these are these very harmful specious beta waves this is how radio signals are transferred. It's how television signals are transferred. It's how microwaves are transferred. They're all transferred through these beta waves, and beta waves look like this. They're very sort of violent, and the disparity is grand above and below, and they're constantly moving. It's just, you look at beta waves and it's just chaos. The whole goal of our brain waves, there are the 6 agreed upon brain waves that we have. 5 are absolutely divine. 1 is evil, and one that works against us, and that's the only one that society allows you to have is beta waves. Everything. And by the way, when they create a new program and they want to give it to you for free so you can play around with, even if it's got bugs in it, what do they call those programs? Beta programs. It's all beta with them, because they need you to be disconnected from God. When you are silent, that is the home or the realm of God. I cannot stress this enough. Meditation is the key, but there's 1,000 books, as I said, about meditation, and they're all false, because the only thing that meditation is silence, is complete silence. And it's where the 5 physical senses die upon the cross, right? Because this is your cross, your shoulders, okay, your head slightly above, your torso below, and your shoulders across. That's the cross. And when you silence yourself, the 5 physical senses from the blood-brain barrier down die upon the cross. And all that's left are the 2 chakras, are the 2 centers of self above the cross. The head, this is the Sea of Galilee. This is the grand circuit of God. And that is the 6th chakra, which is Ajna. And this is the 7th chakra, which is the Sahasrara. And this is the crown chakra, and this is the 3rd eye. So Ajna is the 3rd eye chakra, and this is only achieved by activating the pineal gland. And when you do that, the direct result is purple rain. And that's the purple crown. That's the purple crown that you wear. And so this is why every Sunday night I do that show with the brilliant Justin Carpenter and Siobhan O'Brien and Colleen every Sunday night. We're looking at the greatest bands, the greatest songwriters, the greatest artists of all times, and all of these songs that are all about God. They're all about purple rain. Prince, who's not dead, Prince never wrote a song that wasn't about teaching God's creation or unveiling the truth about the Illuminati or teaching the path to achieve true freedom, which is this freedom within yourself, this journey within. And so that's why Prince had to fake his death because they were going to kill him. And on a sacrificial day, he was to be yet another.
So Charlie, this is like such an interesting topic, because our confidence has been shattered. We've lost our spiritual way as well. So obviously, we will come back and do another show, perhaps even a monthly series. But Charlie, some final words before we go on to the cards, the Sexy Brilliant playing cards, empowerment cards. So please go ahead, Charlie, for a few words.
For sure. One of the greatest pathways to get onto this journey is through these songs and through these albums, these great artists that have now been taken away from us. And and what we're showing every Sunday night is that there's so many of them. There's so many of them. And and that's what we're doing. We're going through these incredible songs that each and every one of you remember, and in many cases were virtually all major hits because they resonated with people. There's a reason why these songs deeply resonate with you. Like America's a Horse with No Name. It's just constantly, most people list it as one of their favorite songs, and it's just a very haunting track that doesn't leave them. Or the Doobie Brothers' Black Water, or Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper, or Simon and Garfunkel's A Bridge Over Troubled Water, The Sounds of Silence. These are songs that never leave people, and no one really takes the time to recognize why. I'm telling you why. It's because these artists lived in devout service to God. And what they did is they wrote these incredible songs, both musically and lyrically, as tribute to God and God's creation. But you see, they had to encode them because they exist within a busyness system. They exist within a satanic, demonic system known as the record industry that doesn't allow for God. And so these things have to be encoded. So a simple thing for you to do, and it's so much fun, is join us every Sunday night. And this is on Justin Carpenter's channel, which is Wandering Toward Truth on YouTube. And 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, that's 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday night. And we take a look at another 5 songs. We're going through the 1,000 most important songs that were ever created. And they're all about God. They're all about this one story. They're all about this journey. It's all about meditation. It's all about going within yourself and creating silence, sounds that originate through silence, the light that comes out of the darkness. So that's a great place to start, everyone. And and if we want to come back and do more of these, that would be wonderful, because there's just few things more important than this development of your spiritual self.
So everybody, please let us know if you would like to watch an ongoing series with Charlie and Colleen and even other guests as well. And we would, of course, make that happen for you. So here we go, Charlie. Let's pull a card, see what the message is today. And I am pulling the Sexy Brilliant Empowerment cards. Now these are a little bit, we are a registered nonprofit foundation. And at sexybrilliant.com, our mission is to remove toxic shame and raise human consciousness. So that is why we're doing the show. And those of you who may not know this, I myself am a recovering addict. So that's why this is so important that, we bring in guests like Charlie and, of course, everybody from the truth community, and also just celebrate being who we are, being authentic. And we will be talking more about that in depth. So here we go. Cards for today. Let's see what messages. If you have a question, ask away. And as you can see, all of these cards will come out and give us some messages. So let's see the message today. If you can see it, it says sexy empowerment. And it says empowerment is a process. We are allowed to be strong and be assertive. It is acceptable to change, evolve, and grow. And it is very sexy when we take control of our destiny and design it in our own brilliant way. Wow. I'm going to put a picture of this card on in the comments and in YouTube and on Facebook as well. So check this card out, because this is a very that we are allowed to change and we are allowed to grow and evolve. And that's what the message is, unlearn everything that we've been taught, right? The indoctrination, it's deep, but when we start healing ourselves, our work, we can then make the way for the generations to come. So Charlie, please end the show with the insight or anything you have to say. And thank you to everybody who's here. Really appreciate you guys and your time. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Devina. And that is another incredible card. And just to remind everyone that the way is to the right, and that is to the rising sun in the east, which is eternal. And all you have to do to get on this path that is straight and narrow is become righteous, virtuous in every moment. And that's what we are. We're mankind. It's who we are, and it's the end of the story. So it gives everything away. We're supposed to be the kindly man. So we need to all start acting like that. And that all starts through the truth. So again, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of people out there that are sharing information that doesn't make it, that doesn't give it any credence or connection to truth. There is a truth. There is the truth of God's creation, and there's only one truth. Not everybody has the truth. People have beliefs. Beliefs are built upon the inner word of belief, which is lie. Beliefs are lies. You have to know. And that's this one story, and that's the story of God's creation. So casting thy net to the right is being kind, and the truth will flow to you like a magnet, because you're going away from electricity and you're going into the realm of magnetism. And remember, I'll leave the show with this. Remember about this journey and becoming magnetic creatures instead of electrical beings. Magnetism attracts what you need and it repulses what you don't. And that's all that magnetism does, and it does it for all eternity. It doesn't dissipate. You don't need to turn it off. It doesn't need servicing or cleaning, anything. It doesn't blow a circuit or blow a fuse. It runs perfectly the same for all time. And again, it does two things. It attracts what you need and repulses what you don't. So guess what? With magnetism, you don't even need to think. Everything is flowing in your favor. So that's casting thy net to the right. The right brain is magnetic, and your left brain is an electrical circuit.
Thank you, Charlie. Beautiful. And we will be back for more. Let us know which days you want to watch the show. So thank you so much, everybody. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Brilliantly Sexy with Devina Kaur. We value your time immensely and appreciate your shares, comments, and feedback. Devina Kaur is the best-selling author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious, a spiritual self-help workbook. Your purchases and donations support the Sexy Brilliant Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to removing toxic shame. Please discover our fantastic behind-the-scenes content on sexybrilliant.org.
Charlie, we made it under 1 hour today. Yay! Bye, everybody.